I'm going to take the Chiefs, and I think they win fairly easy, Skip.
And that's what it's going to come down to. You're going to look at Lamar Jackson, credit to him because of his electrifying talent and his greatness. We're going to also look at what he's missing because we know what Patrick Mahomes got. You don't get to, if you're Lamar Jackson, you don't get to ignore that. You can try, but it ain't going to work.
Brother, so the Ravens might look at the Chiefs like, oh, it's a rival. We got to knock them off. The Chiefs are going to start looking at Lamar Jackson and the Ravens very regular if Lamar Jackson don't win this game.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
Welcome to the Game-Winning Drive, where you will find 60% of Ravens content and 40% of any other team's content. Lamar Jackson literally destroyed the media with his performance on Sunday night. I mean, he throws 2 interceptions, but he did not choke like the media wanted him to. Now, let's give Greg Roman credit. He did a great job with adjusting the play calling and calming down Lamar Jackson, because we all know that Lamar Jackson has a tendency to get very tense when it comes to primetime games, especially against good competition. You know, Lamar Jackson is an overachiever, but sometimes he thinks too much. I wonder what the media has to say about the Ravens offense now. I mean, remember, they say that the Ravens offense is not built to play from behind. They say that they can't come back and beat good teams. Well, the Baltimore Ravens just beat the best team in the AFC, possibly the NFL, Sunday night. Now, the media has a tendency to talk about Lamar Jackson's throwing ability, but I believe that in these last 2 games, Lamar Jackson has thrown the ball remarkably very well. I mean, despite those 2 interceptions, one because Sammy Watkins tripped, and the other one, he just looked too anxious, Lamar Jackson has thrown for over 200 yards in 2 straight games. That is great for a running quarterback, and he's on pace to have a better passing season this year than he did last year. And Lamar Jackson is the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 200 passing yards and 100 rushing yards in a game on 4 different occasions. I mean, golly. Can you believe that the most injured team in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens, beat a healthy Kansas City team, and fans and the media did not give the Baltimore Ravens a chance? Actually, before the Sunday night football game came on, they made a poll, or it was a poll, I should say rather, and it said that 85% of Americans chose the Kansas City Chiefs to win that game. Whether you are a Lamar Jackson hater or not, last night's game should show you that Lamar Jackson is the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the Ravens lost J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and you still got running backs like Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, and Tyson Williams getting 7 to 10 yard runs. It was as if the Ravens were a healthy team, but that just shows you the presence of Lamar Jackson that sets up those runs, which causes other defenses to respect the Ravens running backs no matter who's in the backfield. So far, to me, the 2 best players on the Ravens offense is Lamar Jackson and Marquise Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown has really impressed me so far this season because he has stepped up and have proven to be a reliable target for Lamar Jackson in the passing game. And as far as defense, Odafe Oweh looks like a veteran out there, and he basically saved that game for the Baltimore Ravens. Besides him, the Baltimore Ravens secondary is horrible. I mean, they're horrid. Last week, the Raiders, they threw for 300 passing yards. Derek Carr had 300 passing yards in 1 half. And in this game, Patrick Mahomes played very well, but he also had his way against the Baltimore Ravens secondary. And their tackling is so horrible. I mean, they couldn't even tackle Travis Kelce on one play. I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, if you're on defense and you can't tackle players, you tackle problems. And those problems are allowing elite offenses to do whatever they want against you. I remember last year when the Ravens went against the Titans in the regular season, and the Ravens couldn't even tackle A.J. Brown. They literally just let him score, and that basically decided the game. And they have too many busted coverages. Last week against the Raiders, they also had busted coverages, and a busted coverage cost them the game. And, you see in this game, Robinson gets wide open. It's just too many busted coverages. Marcus Peters getting injured for the Baltimore Ravens was huge because I feel like without his presence, the Baltimore Ravens secondary is even more vulnerable. The only thing that they did well last night against the Chiefs was they basically had Tyreek Hill in check for the most part. But besides that, the weakest link on the Baltimore Ravens is that secondary. The other thing that frustrated me in that game was the referees. I mean, they made too many bad calls, especially the illegal man downfield on the 2-point conversion. It just seemed like the refs were trying to side with the Chiefs, even though I'm not trying to say that there's a conspiracy, but I'm trying to say that, some of those calls were blatantly just bad. And that just makes a football game so frustrating to watch. And as far as me as a football fan, I have to be fair. I have to balance out the analysis. Just like the Ravens have a horrible secondary, the Kansas City Chiefs have a terrible run defense. I mean, last week, the Cleveland Browns ran all over the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And this week, this Sunday night, you saw the Baltimore Ravens do the exact same thing. And that was the reason why this was a high scoring game. I know they try to make it, seem like it was about Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, but the reality, this was a football game. The Kansas City Chiefs have a strong passing offense going against a weak secondary, and the Baltimore Ravens have a strong rush offense going against a weak rushing defense in the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's natural that this will be a high-scoring game. The Baltimore Ravens secondary is dead last in the NFL, and the Kansas City Chiefs run defense is dead last in the NFL. So that should tell you something there. With all that being said, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens for beating the Kansas City Chiefs for the first time in the Lamar Jackson era. Now, they should not take the Detroit Lions for granted next week, especially depending on how the Lions play the Packers on Monday Night Football. And as far as the Kansas City Chiefs, they have to avoid going 1-2, playing against the Los Angeles Chargers. And the Los Angeles Chargers are kind of bitter after losing to the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I just pulled a game-winning drive in this video, so that is over. This video is over. I have another channel where I make highlights. I'm trying to get it to 500 subscribers. If you can, go subscribe to that channel. It's called Modern Gray. And when I get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to make another video on that channel. Man, what a great NFL season this has been so far.
Yeah. I spit raps like a heart attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab